is member of the European Union, and that placing the businesses in Poland is to place business in all European Union. Today, it is not only a market of less than 40 million people, but open market of about 500 million people of the United Europe. So placing business in Poland is placing business on the big market. So it is, even for the Chinese scale, good market, 500 million people, because Poland is rather small. Today, China is the biggest economic partner of Poland in Asia, with the most comprehensive and dynamic cooperation. In the years 2000-2008, Poland's trade volume with China increased 18 times, from less than $1 billion to $18 billion. Polish export growing 13 times, from 100 million to $1.3 billion, and China become Poland's third biggest import market in global scale. Export to China is bigger than to all other Asian countries altogether. So it tells you how important for Polish economy, from an economic point of view, the export to China is. It's bigger than export to Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, and India altogether. One of the key problems in the development of the Polish-Chinese relation, as always, are some prejudices and stereotypes which stop the investment, cooperation, and the better understanding among the people. We choose different ways of development. Since 1989, we choose the democratic way of the development, and we came back to the, let's say, Western values, when still China is an authoritarian country with the state capitalism. So we can say that from one hand, it's for China easier to conduct the policy, but from the other hand, it's not so easy to get into China without the permission of the highest authority, Chinese authority. So still the economic processes are decided on the political level, not on the business level. And it is some problem. The other problem is the size. I told you about the possible contract was possible to sign between Polish and Asian company. And finally they found that everything we produce in 1 year is less than produce that they demand for the beginning, as a beginning of the cooperation. So it's necessary to remember that it makes sometimes such a cooperation impossible if inside Poland the conglomerate of the companies will be not formed, if some holdings of companies will do not start to cooperate together. The lack of the knowledge about China, Chinese culture, Chinese civilization makes that those prejudices on both sides still are present. It is not like that only in Poland China is seen as a strange country. In China, Poland is seen as a strange country too, because China has been closed for many years, and the contact with the other continents, civilizations, for them is not easy as for us too. But it is necessary to say that today Poland in China is seen rather as even not the second not the third but the fourth league in economy. And that Poland is not seen as a serious, big and strong partner. So our efforts to cooperate with China, it is one thing, but Chinese willingness to cooperate with us is another one question. There are two problems on political level we've had still with China. The first, it is Chinese sensitivity in connection with two problems. The one, human rights and understanding of human rights in China, and the second, sovereignty and territorial integrity. Of course, the question of our approach toward Taiwan. Poland has no problem with that when we are speaking about territorial integrity, because Poland, as all European Union, decided to accept the Chinese idea of one state and one representation. And we see that the Taiwan question is a Chinese question. From the other hand, we see the Hong Kong experiment, which is rather successful, one state, two different ideologies. That it is some kind of example which is showing to Taiwan. You can see, we will be together, but you will be a little separate for the time being, with your special rights, with your habits, customs, and political life. The experts predict that in the coming decades, maybe not in this, but probably in the next, such a Hong Kong-like experiment with Taiwan will start. Today, economically, they are almost the same organism. It is a question of ideology and politics. Since the son of Chiang Kai-shek died, and there is no continuation of the political life in Taiwan, more and more Chinese people from Taiwan is ready to accept the Hong Kong model for the coming future, We will see. In this problem, I'm rather optimistic. If the USA will not, intervene, the Chinese people will find the solution. The 2004 was very important for the Polish-Chinese relation. It was first after the few decades of absence visit of the highest political leader of China, President Hu Jintao. And in 2004, it was decided pragmatic partnership between Poland and India. We can say that since 2004, we have, very normal, very active exchange of visits on the lower, of course, level, not on the level of president. But the president in China is not only head of the state, but he is head of the party, so he is a ruling person. In Poland, president is, as in India, is representing the state. So the relations on the level, Chinese president, Polish prime minister, are good, prepared, and the discussion is on the way. We can say that there is some, hope for Polish-Chinese relation, and it is Polish membership in the European Union, because Polish presence in the EU created new channels of dialogue and cooperation with China. It is EU-Asia dialogue, but from the other hand, it is EU-China strategic partnership. Poland is advocating very strongly for such a partnership. Will it help Polish-Chinese relation? We will see. As I said, it is China who chooses. Because, as I said, Poland is too small for such a big economy as Chinese economy is. Nevertheless, Poland is perceived in China as an important, promising economic partner in Central Europe. But they are words. They are not yet facts which fulfill these words. The only we can say what will make more sweet this opinion about Poland in China is that all Central Europe is seen in China as a marginal from Chinese economic policy. So that it is not that China do not like Poland. China do not see Poland as a real business country for making business for future. But we do not resign. Even if still the export to China remains low, we are trying the new attempt to get in Chinese market. But when China is the factor of the world, what activity could improve our situation on the Chinese market? There are few possibilities. Environmental protection. Chinese people are interested in our solutions in this field. Metallurgy. China is interested in cooperation in the field of metallurgy, machinery, electricity industry. China is now constructing new great power stations. Then there is chemical industry and the products for the agriculture. Then not so big business, but for example, Poland is the biggest producer and exporter of furnitures in Europe. China is interested in Polish furnitures. With the furniture industry is tight business of the wood industry. China has not enough wood, is interested in the cooperation in the wood industry too. And last but not least, mining, which is traditionally the field of cooperation between Poland and China, and the new aviation industry. And speaking not about the military aviation, but about civil aviation. The second biggest partner of Poland in Asia is India, of course. In detail, I spoke about it yesterday. Today, only to remind you that the Polish-Indian relations were signed on the diplomatic level in 1954, that bilateral contacts between the people, not the state, but people of both countries, are going as far as to 16th century, that over all the years, the relations between Poland and India on political level were excellent, and cooperation was close, even if the Indian Prime Minister visited Poland 34 years ago last time, because it was substituted by 3 visits of the President of India. So there were the signals from India that on political level everything is on the best possible level, but from the other hand, it was not a great will to make big businesses with Poland, because according to the Indian constitution, it is Prime Minister and government who is deciding about such a cooperation, not the President. What is important from Polish point of view? The India's position in the world affairs. We can add the India's growing position in the world affairs. Then the fact that India is the biggest democracy of the world, so that it is an example for the other countries, being multinational, multi-ethnic, multi-linguistic, multi-religious, still is solving problem by democratic ways. That India is a country of fast-growing economy, one of the best developing country of the world. So we can say that the growing role of India on the local, regional and global level makes India incredibly important partner for any country, for Poland too. So we can say that India is not only important partner for relations between two countries, but very important partner as a crucial interlocutor in political dialogue on the world affairs. India was and still is very important ally for Poland in the fighting international terrorism. Yesterday I mentioned that we have cooperation, special cooperation, especially when the special anti-terrorist forces are involved. That because of the Polish presence in Asia through Afghanistan, we are looking for special partners in Asia too, who help us not only to conduct our duties, but just to solve the problem. For Poland, India is a great example how to solve all the domestic problems by democratic means. Then still there is a question of multilinguistic, multicultural, multireligious and so on context. That India, being a country of diverse tradition and many religions, still is stable for last 60 years. It's very important from our point of view that India is influencing strongly the neighboring countries, different channels, religion, ethnic channels, language, linguistic channels. So we see India as a country of inter-civilization dialogue. So India is an example that the idea of clashes of civilization is not true. And the coexistence and cooperation among the people of different background, different roots, different culture is not only possible, but fruitful. It's very important from a Polish point of view that India's high economic growth stabilize political situation. That thanks to that still there is something to divide among the people. It's a peaceful, democratic, not volatile country. And by comparison with the other countries, India looks as one of the most stable countries, not only in the region, but in all Asia. The fact that we have joined European Union helping us in our relations with India. Because today we are seen not only separately as this 38 million nation, friendly but still 38 million nation, but we are seen as a part of something what is bigger and more important. It is European Union. But in India, as we discussed it yesterday, do not see the interest in signing the strategic partnership with Poland. We are rather too small and not of big attraction for the Indian partner. We observe the processes of dynamic modernization. From the other hand, we observe the growing consumption. So it is something we can use for our economic expansion to India. The growing middle class, multi-million, and according to the report I have quoted, by 2025, the majority of the middle class will appear in India and in China. So the market for the goods for the middle class will be bigger and bigger. We hope that there is a place for the Polish goods on such a market too. So we look for the cooperation in the field of science and technology. From the other hand, we have the traditional field of cooperation with India too. There are many opportunities, especially IT. IT is seen as one of the most important hubs for IT in the world, and the Bangalore Center is seen as more important today than it was California Valley. The volume of trade between Poland and India grew consistently, and today turnover is on the level 1.3 billion, so it is not so impressive. Polish export to India is on the level 350 million, Polish import on the level about $800 million. So you can see that it is comparing the potential of both sides, nothing. It is for tea, but not for sugar. It still means a negative balance for Poland too. What we export to India: power plant, railway, mining equipment, chemicals, some metals, and some machine equipment. What we import: tea, coffee, tobacco, pepper, fiber, cotton. As you can see, as simple as that is possible. So food and something what is not specially prepared. So market still is open for both sides. The conclusion is not so optimistic, but Polish-Indian relations has a future too. We will see. The next, or the third Polish important partner in Asia is Japan. We have a funny situation with Japan because Japan borrowed us in 80s big money. And as you know, by the beginning of our transition, we have asked the private and the state-owned banks to cut our debts to them. They were two clubs, the Paris Club and the London Club. In one, they were gathered the private banks, in the other, the state-owned banks. With the pressure from the USA, the banks decided to cut our debts for 50%. It helped us enormously to pay back, and we pay back everything then up to the last cent. The only country refused: Japan. For a long time, they can't understand that somebody is coming to the bank and saying that I have no money to pay you back. And our experts were said, when samurai is borrowing money, samurai never is borrowing money, but if samurai is borrowing money and has no money to pay, there are two ways just to escape the unhonored situation. Seppuku. But not to come to the bank and say, I will not pay you back. The second solution is harakiri. But not coming to the bank and saying, I have no money to pay back. So the Japan refused to recognize the decision made by the Paris Club and by the London Club. By the way, we paid back all the money to Japan last year. We would like to pay them in advance. They refused, on term as it was just signed in 82 or 83 when we got those money. So there is another one factor which is showing the difference of understanding of making businesses. In business, you must be honest. If you are getting something and you are not paying for what you get, seppuku or harakiri. But not coming to the bank saying, I have no money. It is not my business. Then find the money and pay me back. But not in advance, on term, on the date it is put to the document. And still this psychological fact is very important in the Polish-Japanese relation. It is why, for example, when the Japan investor is coming to Poland, is not so sure. Because maybe Poland will say then, okay, we have no money to pay, or go back home, or something like that. Because Poles are not the samurais. They are not the people with this special dignity and special honor the samurai must conduct. But nevertheless, Japan and Poland has an excellent political relations. We belonged even to those countries who were visited by the emperor's couple. It was in 2004. And as you know, there is such a tradition in the Japanese political tradition as it is British tradition that the monarch is visiting country once per life. So we've had Japanese visit, and there will be no more Japanese monarch visit to Poland. Maybe the next, because the next is starting from the beginning. Elizabeth is living so long. She was in Poland in 1996. So we must wait rather for William, because she will be living as long as Victoria, probably. And Charles has no chance to be a king. So Japan still is seen as a very important, the third economy of the world, one of the best developed countries of the world, and one of the most predictable countries of the world. This traditionally Polish-Japanese tradition, it's enough to say that even in the Second World War, we never declared war against Japan, so we were not part of the war on the Pacific. Maybe because we have not fleet, but from the other hand, it is not the only explanation. So Japanese leading position among the economies of the world, one of the biggest country among exporting capital countries of the world, the great opportunities which are created by the highest possible technology which is made in Japan, they are those factors who made Japan so attractive as an economic and political partner for Poland. What is important from the point of view of Poland is that Japan is involved deeply in the political and strategical partnership with the USA. And as I told you, we see USA as a very important strategic partner of Poland too. So there is what is common between Poland and Japan. It's very important from our point of view, Japanese strong position in the region as a political, as an economic, and as a military power. Even if they are not allowed to have the army, they have good equipped, police or the forces, territorial forces or the security forces, whatever they call the Japanese army. And that Japan is consequently a country standing on the, proper position. So pro-democratic and anti-dictatorship country. Polish-Japanese relations are not so long. We've had the diplomatic relation, but very formal before the war. And for sure, we came to Japan in the half of 50s. So we can say that Polish-Japanese relations are stable since 50s of the 20th century. And then, since then, we have closer ties. At the time of the socialism, Japan was not so eager to cooperate closely with us because socialism for Japanese people were a little strange as an experience, especially when they have close to them North Korea and China. As the world's third largest economy and the best developed country of Asia, Japan remains important economic partner for Poland, even if the exchange of goods between our countries is not on the so high level. From point of view of Tokyo, again, we are seen as a country of excellent territorial placement in Europe. As an open door, open window, bridge, whatever you want. But from the other hand, it is not yet specially used because the Japanese investment in Germany is much higher than in Poland. But the fact that we could be a bridge between Germany and Russia still is important in the Japanese thinking. Again, as in India, as in China, Poland is seen again as a European member